In her own words, Dr. Maya Angelou, the legendary author and poet died yesterday at the age of 86. She served on 2 presidential committees, was awarded the Presidential Medal for the Arts and the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in the country. She also touched the lives of millions and changed the way of us look at the world. And this morning we will do our best to honor her legacy. I am joined by Dr. Jeffrey Ogbar, the Vice Provost of Diversity at UConn, along with Dr. Joyce Shum-Tang, Professor of African American Literature at the University of Hartford. Thank you both so much for being with us this morning here on Fox. But first I want to ask you, what was your reaction? What went through your mind? Many of us knew that she was ill, but didn't think that this would happen, I guess. I think it just came to a shock to so many people. Is that the case with you?
Yeah, certainly. She's lived a profound life, and in many ways, reflecting on her life, you sort of see this huge sort of imprint she's had on so many different people in so many different arenas all around the world. And it's given a moment of sort of reflection on a sort of remarkable life that is, I think the word remarkable doesn't quite fit exactly just how impactful she's been to so many people.
Right. And what about you?
Yes, I would liken it to the day Nelson Mandela died, because we knew it was coming, and each time I saw Maya on TV, I felt a certain trepidation waiting for that day, and when it came, it was like a sunset, but a sunset with a glow, that rich orange glow. She lived a full life, but it's that moment where you still take it in, and you know that a light has gone out, but Maya is a kind of light that goes out and the reflection stays. So it was a deep moment for me.
Yes. Unfortunately, we only have a few minutes to discuss this incredible woman. And she's done so much. I mean, we can only touch on just a few things. What do you think, if it's at all possible, is there one moment in history that she shines the brightest?
Well, I'm a historian by training, and when over her life, if someone were to look at create a life like Maya Angelou in fiction, one would think it was just too fanciful. I mean, here's someone who meets W.E.B. Du Bois. She meets Mandela in Cairo long before he's arrested. She, cavorts with James Baldwin and Langston Hughes, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. She's close friends and mentors with Oprah Winfrey. She hugs Tupac and actually has him cry. Influences him. Yeah. She's actually in hip hop, jazz, blues, R&B. She dances with Alvin Ailey before he becomes, the creator of one of the largest and most famous American dance troupes. She's really remarkable. I mean, from being a poor woman who cooked and did all sorts of odd jobs to someone who says a poem at the inauguration of the president and then gets these awards from the president. It's really a remarkable life. You can't box her in any way.
No, that's true. And she is just, as you're saying, she has done so much. Let's talk about her books for a bit. I know, obviously, the most famous, the one that most people have read, if they have read any of this, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. It's really heartbreaking at times. She recounts a part of her life that she's experienced some hardship, but it's also inspiring as well. Do you think that that is probably maybe her most well-known book, but do you think that would you say it would be her best?
I think that's Maya's legacy, that she was able to talk about pain, but at the same time, hope resided with the pain. So her works, even though they brought to the surface, they took us to taboo spaces, they still shone so brightly with inspiring messages. Maya Angelou, when she wrote that book, and that is why it would, I'm sorry to say the classic, because it opened the door for the others. She broke barriers. The book was not only, it could be looked at as a response to Black Boy, and this book also represented what was going on at that time. This is the post-black aesthetic movement where a lot of the black writers, women writers, felt like they were being boxed in. Like Toni Morrison said, somebody had to say, before we all danced to Black is Beautiful, there was a time when things were not so right. And so that book chronicles the kind of life that was not meant to see the light of day. And she broke barriers with that, and as such gave so many women writers their voice, and so many people even who were not writers, the will to speak certain things, to speak words. Maya had, and it's amazing that she wrote mostly autobiographies, and I'm glad she did, because there's no fiction that can replace that. Like Jeffrey said, her life itself was so fanciful that I wonder what she could have written if she wrote fiction, because...
Well, you know, what always strikes me is that she shines such incredible light on all of us. But she overcame quite a bit of hardship when she was young. She was raped at 7 years old, and after the person responsible, her mother's boyfriend, was put in prison and killed, she lost her voice for several years. It affected her so greatly.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things, I mean, that story, the tragedy of that story, and then to see this woman who yesterday passed, and everything in between, is to really look at the resilient spirit of humanity. I mean, she's strong, she has temerity, courage, staring pain, doubt, and achieving extraordinary things.
I believe that Maya Angelou's enduring legacy is that she showed that hope was a verb. Hope was a doing word. She never let anything put her down. Whatever life handed her, she used it. It didn't matter what it was. She looked for a job. At some point, she had a stint for a week as a prostitute. She wrote it down. She claimed it. She made it her own and transcended it. And I think that's why many people can relate to her. She was such a human being. You know, and I think that is her enduring legacy. Her words, you can thrive on her words. You can. Even her poetry is so accessible. She did not intellectualize anything. So you can come to her poetry as a student or someone from the street and still pick something from there. Like I was talking in the elevator, she's like the African sage in the village. So earthy and grounded.
Absolutely. Well, as I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, we only have a few minutes to